kumwambia Matiang'i anisikie vizuri. Wachana siku ile ulikuwa unakasirikia Aaron Cheruiyot. Mimi mwenyewe na wende Hansard ya Senate. Mimi mwenyewe ndio nilikuokoa kwa mambo ya haraka. Mimi Kipchumba Murkomen mwenyewe kama majority leader nilikuokoa. Na kama uko na maswali enda Hansard ya Senate. Mimi nilikutetea kwa sababu tulikuwa na wewe tukifanya consultancy kwa street kabla hujapewa kuwa waziri. Mimi na yeye tulikuwa tunaenda kuomba kazi huyu PS Kipto. Anatupatia kazi kidogo ya trademark nini tunafanya, tunapata kidogo ya kusurvive, akapata bahati akakuwa waziri. Sasa hiyo nini yani waziri kadogo imempatia kiburi sana, nafikiria inaza lecture sisi. Na I want to challenge Matiang'i. Kama wewe unajijua wewe ni mwanaume sana, unajua siasa, twende huko Nyamira kwa village yako, tuombe MCA na mimi, tuone kama utanishinda. Ndio ujue siasa sio ati ni hii ya mandazi ya kukaa ofisi na kupika masimu. Ukitaka ujue kuongoza watu ni kazi ngumu, twende kwa village yako tuombe MCA, uone kama utanishinda.
I just want to remind them that you are mere appointees, and anytime that appointment can disappear, my friend. You are exercising the powers of that office courtesy of those who voted for this government. Na ni aibu. Ati CS mtu kama Matiang'i, kwanza track record ya Matiang'i in public service is terrible.
Kwa sababu tuliona jana waziri moja ambaye hajawahi kuchaguliwa na mtu, kazi yote yenye Matiang'i amepata is by appointment. Akiongea na amefura sana, amejaza power. We want to tell you Matiang'i, that power you have is with the people who voted for us.
Ina mtu wa kuongoza mmoja. Kuna mtu hapa ako na familia ambayo inaongozwa na wazee wawili? Hapana, familia inaongozwa na mzee mmoja. Sisi tunafanyia Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta kazi. Ndio rais wetu. Na rais akituamulisha vile kazi inafanywa, mimi na Kibicho tutafanya hiyo kazi vile rais ametuamulisha tufanye hiyo kazi.
So those are a couple of leaders allied to Deputy President William Ruto over the weekend, Sunday specifically, castigating Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i. According to them, he is a civil servant and should not meddle in politics. Matiang'i, on the other hand, says we have one leader in this country, and that leader is Uhuru Kenyatta. I will do whatever it is he asks me to do. And this is not the first time that Matiang'i is coming to the fore. This is not the first time that Matiang'i is receiving attention. Remember, at the beginning of the year, there were calls for his impeachment. And interestingly enough, at that point, it was leaders allied to Raila Odinga who were making those calls. And then just right now, towards the end of the year, we have similar calls, but now from leaders allied to Deputy President William Ruto. So what is it about Dr. Fred Matiang'i, Interior Cabinet Secretary, that makes him a person of political interest? That is the conversation we're having this evening. I'd like to bring in our lead reporter, Sophia Wanuna. But before that, it's important to mention that we will also be speaking to Dr. Alutalala Mukhwana, who's a political analyst. He's here in studio with me. We'll also be speaking to James Mamboleo, who's an advocate and political analyst as well. He's joining us from our City Center studio. But for now, let's bring in Sophia Wanuna, who's speaking to Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei. Sophia, good evening. If you can hear me, there's a couple of leaders who've said that Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i has been disrespecting the Deputy President William Ruto and intimidating them. I'd like to know how, from where they sit.
Indeed, good evening, Linda. Important to note, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, CS Interior, one who rose to prominence in as far as Kenyan politics are concerned when he was first appointed as CS, ICT, then moved to the Ministry of Education, and now to the Ministry of Interior. And not only is he Minister for Interior, but also being elevated as described in the circles in government as Super CS, chairing cabinet meetings, I beg your pardon. And also, although this is part of his portfolio, national coordination of government activities, but we saw that being played out, and he's been moving around the country. And so it appears all of that has brought in the as you described, as we've played those clips and the sentiments coming out. And my guest as well is on record this evening at some point saying that as he's been challenged by Senator Murkomen to an MCA election, he challenged him to a cattle dip. chairperson election, asking and arguing he would not even manage that. So, Senator Cherargei, thank you for making time for us. What is the beef, if I may use that word, that those in Ruto's camp have with CS Matiang'i, who is also on those clips we've played on record saying he is only answerable to his appointing authority, the president?
Thank you for having me tonight. What I can say, the universal truth, let me start from the basic, is that when the Uhuru, the only way Matiang'i got a job is when Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto came together. That is when he was be able appointed. Secondly is that when you know this presidency, there is President Uhuru Kenyatta and Deputy President William Ruto. What we have been seeing is not only disrespect, it has been insubordination, not only by CS Matiang'i but two other cabinet ministers, where they are going even to public forum and answering the deputy president. And I think those are some of the key issues that we have been having, that they shouldn't insubordinate or disrespect the deputy president. And these are issues that we have raised before, that the office of the presidency should be respected, because when you see people like Matiang'i, they are just insubordinating the deputy president.
Yeah. So are you alive on KTN News? You are being watched by Kenyans. They hear that there's a minister disrespecting, insubordinating the deputy president, and they want to know the details of this insubordination. So tell us, how exactly has Matiang'i disrespected, been insubordination towards the deputy president?
What you saw in Kirinyaga is part of the larger scheme by a cabinet minister who should be non-partisan, because he's an interior security, he's in charge of security. You saw those lectures, and he says he's answerable to President Uhuru Kenyatta alone. He's not even answerable to Kenyans. That is even disrespecting Kenyans. The Wanjiku who elected Jubilee government to be in office, yet he had the audacity of lecturing and saying wachani upuzi. How can somebody sang too low and say it is only answerable to President Uhuru Kenyatta? Yet he know very well that the government runs through a system that is there, and the deputy president was even courteous by reminding them that, hey, look, the job you're having is not courtesy of us, it's courtesy of ordinary Wanjiku, who voted on August, even twice in 2017. Even in 2013, Matiang'i was nowhere. He was in obscurity. He was just being brought to serve as a mere appointee, and you have had even his service where he has been having a treble career as a career public servant. So I don't know whether nowadays he's a partisan, is now a team leader of Kieleweke. He has been associated. You saw even the press conference that was there in Bunge today in the morning, led by the team fashioned themselves as Team Embrace and Team Kieleweke. So if you find an internal security minister being used, is being partisan in politics of Team Kieleweke, it's very sad. Secondly, you have to be reminded that it is before you answer, I ask question, I am among the people who voted when Matiang'i was being roasted by the ODM and NASA senators. I'm among the senators who voted for him not to be removed from office. Yet he had been accused by Ruaraka land scandal, by paying land that belonged to the public land. Yet Ruaraka school. So it has been malicious. In fact, if you are talking about insults that or somebody in quotes, because I don't know of any insults, if we have been insulting Matiang'i as they perceive to say, because I said, and I can still hold what I said, that even if you were to run for a cattle dip chairman in Nyamira, somewhere in some small village where he comes from, he can't win, because this is somebody we have always believed that he has done better. But I don't know where this, and you know, many people, even during the ODM legislators, even insulted him. Those comments that were made by Honorable Gladys Wanga were even made by Honorable Babu Wino when he said, remember what happened to Joseph Ngaiser? It's the same ODM legislators. So what has changed?
It sounds, some would argue, that you as MPs, led to the deputy president, are rattled by the stature of this man who now, you remember, the Tanga phrase came from the president, the DP would go around inspecting projects, and all of that has been brought back to the Office of Interior, that he's the one as Super CS. That's what they argued the meeting in Kirinyaga was about. And with also commentary, we've seen some of the newspapers report, is he being perhaps, mentored or taken through that road of a possible successor to the president. So there are those who'd argue all of this is really that you're rattled by the stature of this man.
No, I think, Sophia, it is not even about succession politics. Have you knew the stature? He can't even run for an MCA and win it somewhere in Nyamira. What we are just saying, we are reminding him to do his job. As a person, even if I have an opportunity today to serve as national security minister, minister, I must be non-partisan. But when you have somebody who is issuing threats, and you know he was in education ministry, is understandable because he used to bulldoze students. He should know that these are Kenyans, these are elected leaders, and let me tell you, I'm a chair of a legal committee. He has even gone ahead and disrespected Senate. We have someone more than, I can't count time before my committee when we have serious issues. So this person, I shouldn't even utter disrespect before Parliament, not only before even the Deputy President or before the President, because when you disrespect the Deputy President, you are disrespecting the President because they are a package at the presidency. So what I'm just saying is that Matiang'i must style up. The other day, a few hours ago, less than 24 hours, I made those comments in Nandi in Tindred. Yesterday we met as he exited the entrance of Intercontinental Hotel, and he said very loaded messages. Barely 24 hours, I was being arrested. So you can imagine somebody who has also a sensitive docket, such that he can even issue threats. Before you know it, you are being arrested, you are being politically persecuted, because he has an habit of anybody who opposes him, you need to intimidate. And luckily enough, he has state machinery, but he should be reminded power is temporary. We had many people who had that docket, but nowadays they are nowhere to be seen.
But the matter you are being arrested over is not fake news. It's something that happened. It's a court case. There was police bond.
You can't argue that I've been out for more than 5 months. But I don't want to discuss because against the sub judice rule. But what I'm saying is that if you meet a person who is in charge of security sector, you have an altercation. He wants you, and I don't know why he likes invoking God's name. He invoking God's name, but it does not reflect what he does. Because when you invoke such and make loaded statement before your security in your car, this is a powerful cabinet minister, he's called super CS. I don't know why he's super, because he has done nothing that can make him super. Because he's busy in subordinating the people who are more senior than him and disrespecting them.
Yeah, you say in the name of God, and that's the same sentiment that Gladys Wanga said today of the Deputy President, that he wishes, as he invokes the name of God in all of this and goes to church, that more would be seen. So it appears you all see each other from the same lens.
No, we don't see each other, because you know what you do should reflect what we are saying. Because if we have if I made a comment, he should have done it politically by answering. Nowadays, he's a politician. He was in Kirinyaga answering some of us. What was it hard for him to call a rally somewhere in his small village in Nyamira and say the Nandi senator did say this in Tindred, somewhere in Nandi County, make these comments and reply politically? Why use state security to intimidate me?
But let me put this to you. To the point he made, he's an appointee and is only answerable to the president. Isn't he getting that gravitas? Isn't he getting the confidence to say what he's doing, to do what he's doing from the president? So why shouldn't then you be bold enough to call the president to him is answerable? Because if the president had a problem with him, do you think he'd still go ahead and do these things you call insubordination and disrespect?
You know, Sophia, they say power corrupts absolutely. And you know, the president, as we have known, President Uhuru Kenyatta has been magnanimous. He has allowed his cabinet secretaries to do their job. But sometimes some of them, imagine because they are being given salutes and they are being called super CS, they just wake up one morning and imagine they can make some deals. That is why we need to call them out. The role of the way of parliament is to do oversight. And that is why when they overstep their mandate, like in subordinating the deputy president, is like in subordinating the president, disrespecting the deputy president, is disrespecting the president, because as I have said before, the universal truth is because of President Uhuru Kenyatta and Deputy President came together, it is because Matiang'i was appointed. He would have been nobody today.
But you and I, before this show, to tell to our viewers, we watched a clip. The president earlier today spoke to the point that people are going around playing all of this politics. They think I don't know. So you are suggesting that the president is not aware of what his ministers are doing. A minister, he has bestowed and given great responsibility. So again, the question, isn't then your problem truly with President Kenyatta, and that you are using the CS Matiang'i as a punching bag, but truly the biggest problem here is within Jubilee and with President Kenyatta?
No, I think President, as I've said, President has been very magnanimous. The President is aware, but I don't think President would be
so... But he's not doing anything, he's aware, but he's helpless?
But President would not be so trivial to tell him, go and tell Wanjikus, atutaki you opposite. I don't think the president can be so trivial like that.
Maybe he's telling you politicians, mwache upuzi.
No, but you are insulting the people who are exercising sovereignty. You know, the voice of the people is the voice of God. We are the divine leaders. Who is he? Is just a mere appointee. He is serving at the pleasure of the appointing authority. Today he can be sacked and it can't go anywhere. So what I'm saying is that even if we have all these issues within government, every house, let me use this phrase, every house has its own problems. Even where I come from, we share the sun, but we don't share houses. But what then does not mean that you go ahead and insubordinate the government you are serving in. You issue threats to some section of leaders simply because you believe they are not allied to you. And that is why the reason even some of us are being politically persecuted, there are many comments that have been made by other leaders. But because they are allied to Kieleweke, because now Matiang'i is the team leader of Kieleweke, they are not being arrested. But somebody who is allied to the deputy president or somebody who appears not to toe his line because he wants sycophants, then you use state machinery, which is at disposal. And I sympathize with them because these security agencies are just being used to fight political wars. I wish even the deputy president, deputy DPP, director of public relations, Nordin Haji, is with Matiang'i and Nordin. Now they are doing what we call political persecution because, for example, let me take you back. It is you media who reported the splashing headlines of corruption cases, many cases that DPP was rushing to court. Now he's starting to blame judiciary. Yet he's not preparing his case as well because he has been doing what we call political weaponization of corruption, political persecution, the way Matiang'i is doing, and we can't allow them to do. We must call them out. That is our work as parliament and as leaders. And this one, whether he wants to arrest us 20 times, 50 times, 1,000,000 times, they should be told power is temporary and it will come to an end at some point in time. Yeah.
Do the allegations you make, in your view, warrant impeachment of CS Matiang'i?
Of course, the parliament, they should, because you can imagine, Sophia, if somebody who is in charge of national security is partisan.
So are you intending to bring such a motion then?
Of course, that is under the purview of National Assembly. And I have advised my colleagues in the National Assembly that the way Matiang'i is behaving, and I request the president to crack the whip before it goes overboard, that the way he's behaving, I think it's the right time he be allowed to do other things. Maybe to go and prepare to run for an MCA in Nyamira. I think we can give him 3 years to go and prepare ground, because ground vitu is different. So he must be allowed to go back there, because we can't allow people, Sophia, to play around. And my message to the members of National Assembly, the moment we allow these cabinet secretaries, who are mere appointees, there are 3. The other day you saw CS Macharia, CS Joe Musheru, now CS Matiang'i answering the deputy president, answering the presidency. That one is itself is in subordination, which is ground for impeachment. And they should be impeached and call out and allow Kenyans who respect authority, because we have order in government. If you are disrespecting one member of government and yet you are serving the same cabinet, you are sitting in the same government, and you are telling people we are only answerable to one person, yet what will Wanjiku on the street feel? Yet they know because of the votes the government was formed. You are given, I thought he should have even said, my work is to serve Kenyans. It would have been more safer. But the point is this, the president told us, and he said there are only 2 politicians, himself and the deputy president. Others are technocrats. What is cabinet secretaries doing? Now we have seen Matiang'i is the team leader of BBI, now threatening people and saying, this BBI is good, you must vote for it. The other is, you saw friends like Joho working with him. They are saying tsunami in Akuja. We have never seen that tsunami. So if you see us championing for BBI, insubordinating the same government, then I can tell the National Assembly they should impeach Matiang'i. And they should even call for a special session so that they can impeach him and read him the charges. Finally, the other day he was going to West Pokot. He went when he was in airport in Eldoret Airstrip. He took a selfie, said the weather was too bad. He was rushing to fix issues of BBI. Yet, let me tell you, there are 52 deaths that happened in West Pokot. Up to now, according to Matiang'i, the weather is still too bad to go to West Pokot. Yet the chopper, as I finish, even you can see with Auditor General report, he bought a chopper worth 900 million. He told us he would fly at night.
Sophia, if you
so it must be called out that he should stop politicking, go back to office and serve the people.
Yes, Linda,
Sophia,
I can hear
listen,
you. You want to interject? I can hear you.
No, listen, there's something you've asked him that he specifically did not answer. So they have a problem with Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i, and they're saying that he's disrespecting the Deputy President. The Deputy President is the second in command in the Republic of Kenya. If they have a problem with his appointee, surely shouldn't the Deputy President take it up with the appointing authority, who is President Uhuru Kenyatta? Why would they rally up and tell off a CS who's serving under the authority of the President? He did not specifically answer that.
Indeed, and I will bring it back to you, Senator Linda, coming back to a question I asked, because at the end of the day, many Kenyans watching this and understanding how, in terms of governance, it works. You have the president, the deputy president, and they formed this government. And so that to the question that at the end of the day, yourselves, your colleagues, senators, MPs taking issue with the CS Matiang'i, why not then ask the deputy president to speak to the president about this appointee that is, in your view, going rogue?
Of course, the president, of course, is aware of all the issues that is happening.
Then he doesn't agree then with you?
No, it doesn't mean that the president. This was the first time that he was making these utterances. He has been making chini ya maji, but this is the first time he got demolded. I think because he had a cheering squad. Governor Waiguru, Joho, and the rest of Kieleweke, the likes of by the name caused by Commander, some busybodies called Kieleweke. That is when he got cheered because he was in the wrong crowd and he decided to what we call emotional outburst before the people. So I think now this is the first time, but we know he has been doing kichini. But now the president is fully aware of all these issues, and that is why we are requesting the president that all these issues is aware. But what he is just demanding or requesting the president is that he should either crack the whip, or I'm now calling upon the National Assembly to start impeachment proceedings against Matiang'i, so that Matiang'i can concentrate to run for either a cattle dip chairman or an MCA in Nyamira. That's what we are just requesting.
All right. Thank you very much. Senator Cherargei saying that the president is aware, Linda, and that in coming days, asking the president to crack the whip, whatever that means, or the members of National Assembly to begin procedure to impeach CS Matiang'i. So definitely a man who finds himself in the middle of this political life. And of course, some of the rhetoric and narrative around him outside of all of what we've talked about this evening is, could he be that compromise candidate in the next general election, is also part of the talk by the political pundits. You are watching The Big Story here on KTN News. We take a break. When we return, my colleague Linda Ogutu, you saw our guest earlier, will continue with this conversation. Please stay with us.